Hello guys, I hope you are well and I hope you haven't got any unnecessary fines since my last video. And the last video was the ferry crossing part 1 and now we have part 2. So we are going to investigate how to switch on the ferry mode and how to use the ferry mode on the tachograph, as the using and switching on the ferry mode, it could be difficult because there is only one way to switch on the ferry mode properly, and we are going to investigate this. First, we have to go to the usual website, which is www.transportcommunity.eu, this way, and then transport, road transport, and we need regulations. And today we need only one file, which is the Smart 2 tachograph. This is the regulation, describes the Smart 2 tachograph, and if you click this regulation, and you have to scroll down, and here we are. Okay, but first we need the regulation, and that's the basic problem. By using the ferry mode is very difficult, it's a nightmare. And okay, you have the right to interrupt your daily rest, your regular daily rest, which is 11 hours. So let's say about the regular daily rest. We want to use, and now we want to use the regular daily rest for ferry crossing. So we have the right to interrupt the 11 hours break. How can we do that? We can interrupt maximum of 2 times by activities other than rest, and that's the law and that's the fact. So you have to use other activities than rest when you interrupting your daily rest period. And we have a timeline here, and I show you what's the problem with this. So at the beginning, you're just driving, working around, you have the 45 minutes, and finally you arrive to the port and you start your regular daily break here, which is the 11 hours break. And then that's the end of your shift. Okay, that's the other side. And you can interrupt this period 2 times, as you see here, by other activities other than rest. So if you see here, you can see the driving icon, the hammer, and the standby icon. So you can use these 3 activities, but you cannot use the bed, you cannot use the rest option if you interrupt. And you can interrupt 2 times only. And this is the point: you roll on the ferry, and here you roll off, and you have to switch on the ferry mode here on the ferry. But I'm going to provide you with another video, and I'm going to show you exactly when and how to switch the ferry mode. As I said before, there is one way only to do that properly, otherwise the tachograph cannot recognize ferry as an activity. And you can see here that's the ferry movement, so you are on the boat here 8 hours, and then you, of course, you finish your regular daily break here, and at the end of the shift the tachograph starts another shift here. But the point is, as I said before, you cannot use the bed, and I tell you why, and I tell you what's the problem. Let's see the map. Let's see the map of port of Portsmouth. So ideally, if you arrive to the port and you just park up somewhere here and you start your brake and you don't need to move, and when you start moving you can go straight to the boat and you can roll on immediately. This is the dream, this is the ideal version, as it's not true. In the reality, you drive through the security, you have to park up, and let's say you arrive to the port early morning, so you have to wait for the office. They're going to open, and then you can collect your ticket. Then if you can figure out which lane is yours, then you can go there, and in the lane you have to wait. So that means you have to switch the tachograph back to bed, rest, as you don't have any other option, because if you keep that tachograph on hammer or whatever, the interruption will be more than 1 hour, and then you have to start queuing, so you have to do small movements, and finally you can roll on the boat. So the problem is you have lots of movements here. That's the reality. So, and the trick is you cannot use the rest mode on the tachograph, otherwise the interruption will be more than 2. So finally you will have more than 2 interruptions. The problem is, if you want to keep your tachograph, let's go back to the regulation, if you want to keep your tachograph on driving, you cannot, because that works automatically. You will stop the truck, and you have to stop the truck, of course. And hammer, you can do that, or standby, but the problem is the queuing and getting to the boat usually takes more than 30 minutes, more than 1 hour, so that will be too long, as your interruption cannot be longer than 1 hour altogether. So that's the problem. Basically, between the regulation and the reality, there is a huge gap, because technically you cannot do this. If you're lucky, or if you have to go to a small port, maybe you can do that, like Fishguard. That's a very small port. You can park up, you can start your brake, and maybe you can just solve the problem with one movement, which is 20 minutes. And you can use the standby, for instance, because you cannot use the bed, as I said before. Because if you see that, the next picture show you, that's the split brake, that's the next video. But the next picture will show you what's the problem if you use more than one movement. Because in this picture you can see one movement, two movements, and the third one, when you roll off the boat, the tachograph starts your next shift, because it's more than 2 movements, more than 2 interruptions. So that's the basic problem, and unfortunately we have more. So I'm going to teach you how to switch on the ferry mode in the next video, and I'm going to show you how can you use the regular daily brake like this one, and how can you use your split brake for ferry crossing. So that's it for now, guys. I know it's difficult, and I know you have to solve somehow, and the best way, if you can not move to the ferry by 2 movements, you have to just make a printout and you have to make a note, as you cannot, or you couldn't solve this with 2 interruptions. So you need, probably you need more than 2 interruptions to roll on the ferry. So it's difficult, nothing you can do. Right, that's it for now. So we still investigate this in the next video. So don't forget to subscribe. Do not pay any unnecessary fines. And see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. If you would like to support our work, please subscribe to the Pro package. you can do so on the Transport Community website, which is www.transportcommunity.eu, and then pick the membership levels page and Pro monthly or Pro yearly plan, which is less than €7.5 per month. But of course, as you see here, you have 3 days trial, which is completely free. But if you are over the 3 days and still not satisfied, I give you 100% money back guarantee. Join the transport community today and keep your money in your wallet. Enjoy trucking and don't be afraid of the law.